We all have that little voice inside our head that narrates our lives and gives us both solicited and, unfortunately, sometimes unsolicited advice. Sometimes this inner dialogue is our biggest cheerleader, but more often than not, it's a relentless critic, constantly pointing out our flaws and shortcomings. It's like having a tiny judgmental roommate living rent-free inside your brain, leaving passive-aggressive post-it notes all over your thoughts. Imagine this scenario. You're running late for work and you spill your morning coffee all over your fresh shirt that you just washed. Your inner voice chimes in and says, "Way to go, klutz, you're always so careless." Just like that, your inner critic has taken a simple mistake and turned it into an attack on your identity. You've now labeled yourself a klutz. This one thought in isolation can be harmless, but what happens when these negative thoughts stack up over time? And why do we let that little voice inside our heads have so much power over our emotions and our perception of reality? Think about it. If a friend constantly spoke to you the way your inner critic does, you'd probably stop hanging out with them pretty quickly. Yet, we allow our minds to berate and belittle us day after day, without even questioning it. Why is that? What most people don't realize is that the negative self-talk starts at a very young age. From the moment we start exploring the world around us, even before we learn to speak, we start to hear the word no all the time. No, you can't go in there. No, don't eat that. No, that's not safe. No, 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 no. In his book, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself, Dr. Shad Helmstetter calls this negative programming. He states that in the first 18 years of our lives, it's estimated that we hear no or some kind of negative statement more than 148,000 times. Oof. It's no wonder that this negativity becomes wired into our brains and leads us to see ourselves and the world around us through a negative lens. The science also seems to back this up. Behavioral researchers believe that as much as 77% of our thoughts are negative. Have you ever heard the phrase, "It's the story we tell ourselves"? If you tell yourself that you're a klutz every time you accidentally spill something, you will start to believe that you're a distracted, careless, and irresponsible person. These negative emotions can also make us feel helpless and like we aren't in control of our situation or our lives. And that power is magnified tenfold when we repeat and reconfirm this narrative to others. It results in a scenario in which we actually lost control over our actions. We simply continue to play the part that we have created for ourselves. You quite literally write your own character. It's like replaying a movie over and over again on a loop. Each time we tell it, the narrative becomes stronger and starts to define who we are. But that's all that this is, a story, and you are the author. So I want to ask you, what script are you writing? Would you greenlight a script filled with negativity, self-doubt, and constant criticism? Probably not. You'd want a script that inspires, motivates, and empowers you to be the best version of yourself. The thing is, we can't stop that little voice from chiming in, but we can choose how much power we give it over our lives. Here are 2 simple but effective steps you can take to reshape how you think about yourself. Number 1, treat yourself like you'd treat a good friend. When a negative thought pops into your head, think about what you'd say to a good friend if they were in your shoes. If they spilled something, you probably wouldn't call them a klutz. You'd probably give them some grace and remind them that they're busy or have been under a lot of stress lately. You tell them that it's no big deal and not to be too hard on themselves. You should treat yourself with the same respect. You deserve it. Number 2, replace each negative thought with a positive one. In his book, Dr. Helmstetter discusses the importance of swapping negative talk with positive talk. Pretend that it's opposite day. Each time a negative thought arises, you just say the opposite. For example, instead of, "I just can't seem to get focused today," you could say, "I am focused and in control. I don't struggle with a lack of focus." It may make you squirm a bit at first because it won't seem entirely true, but the point is to build up these repetitive positive statements over time until your brain does believe that they're true and starts to act accordingly. Your brain just needs a little help. It needs to be tricked into it. Another great way to practice this is through writing down your supportive statements on paper each morning. Writing it down helps you solidify it into the real world. I'll link a great journal that can help you with this in the description if you're interested. It has all kinds of great prompts to make it much easier to get started. What does your negative self-talk say to you? Let me know in the comments how you're changing it to something positive. And if you subscribe to the channel, I'll do a little gratitude dance for you. Did you hit it? Did you? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.